all day. Sun beat down. How do you not sing along to that song?
Because I mean, you don't have a good singing voice.
Me?
Yeah,
I just got the raspy thing going on. I got an amazing singing voice right now.
I think it's less raspy and more out of tune.
It's a combination of the two. It's the worst possible combination.
Yeah.
Oh man, great song though. Welcome back, Geoholics, episode 278.
Yeah, 278.
If
Rolling right along.
Yes, if I am counting correctly, it is in fact 278.
It is two. You got it, buddy.
Yeah. But yes, we are moving right along. We got a great show lined up this week, as always. Couple items to talk about in regards to the Geoholics. Unfortunately, we're not able to make it to the Western Region Surveyors Conference last month.
Yeah.
We both got way too much going on, like bookend work trips and that type thing.
Yeah, it was a little too much, and it's going to be a great conference, great show. And we really appreciate the invite. But
definitely. We'll plan ahead next year.
Yes.
It was kind of a spur of the moment thing.
It was. But, and we tried to spur, and the moment got us.
The moment got in our way. Yeah. No doubt about it. Other than that, we do have the ASPRS conference coming up.
You do?
There is a Geoholics discount code that's going to be floating around here in the very near future.
You're saying I got to get that on the website, don't I?
On the website would be great. It's in our email box, so I got to get the link and everything. Well, you put the link on the website. I'll take care of it everywhere else.
Okay, LinkedIn and all the. We'll get it out there.
We'll get it out there. Yeah. So that's exciting, and then that's April. And May, of course, is Topo.users conference.
It is.
And after that, we'll catch up at a later time.
The year the wave of the year will take us with it.
Things are moving fast and furious.
It is. It's almost we're into March, buddy.
I know it. Did we talk about Geo Week
last week?
Oh, that's last week's show.
Yeah.
We did, didn't we? Yeah. Gosh darn it. Yeah. You're right. I am getting old, and my brain is getting feeble, foggy.
Yes.
Yeah. It doesn't help that at 2:00 in the morning this morning, I woke up and I took some nighttime sinus medicine.
Oh, that always.
Oh, yeah. I'm a zombie the next day, no matter what.
No matter what. You got to start that at 8:00.
Yeah.
That's like 8:00 max. If you're past that, it's like, well, I'm just going to suffer through here.
Oh, man. So that was me for the day. Anyways, what else? What's going on with you, man?
Not a whole lot. That's what I always say every single week. It's that time where the smell of cut grass starts floating around because you got spring training.
Yes.
Yeah, I was actually I got here a little late because I forgot I went right by the Angel Stadium there, and they were letting the game out.
Yep.
Because it was right at 4:00 Arizona time, and the game usually starts at 1. That means they're keeping it to a tight 3 hours with those spring training games.
I like that.
Yeah, and have you seen them with the people can call the replays on the balls and strikes?
Yes.
That's kind of cool.
What do you think about that?
I think it messes with the game flow a little bit, but I really like it when the umpire is wrong. Because you're like, I know that's a ball, and the guy and the catcher's funny. And usually the people that are calling it, asking for it, are usually right.
Wouldn't it speed the game up even more if we didn't even have umpires?
I think that's where we're going here.
Yeah, exactly.
But then I think that takes a little bit of the fun out. You know? You got to have a scapegoat if your team sucks, but then you still lose and you root for them.
Blame it on somebody.
It's that stupid umpire and those balls and strikes.
AI is going to take over baseball. You watch.
It will. What about you? What's new with you?
Just on baby watch, to be honest with you.
Oh yeah, we're in countdown time.
Less than 2 weeks at this point. So
that's so exciting.
Looking forward to that. Not my baby, of course. Let's not be confused.
We're not.
No, thank God. So yeah, but no, looking at that, you got that going on. Went up and spent the weekend with Chicago Bob last weekend. Did a little country line dancing.
Yeah, you told me you were going to do that.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I had a lot of fun.
Is there video that
if
can
there is,
exploit?
You will never see it.
Okay, got it.
But it was a really good time. So yeah, everything's good. Everything's good. And I forgot to mention our episode this week, as always, is powered by MLID, making aerial and terrestrial surveys faster and easier than ever before. To find out more, go to emlid, EMLID.com. What else you got? Anything else?
No.
You want to get on with the song of the week?
I think we should.
Go for it.
Yeah, we kind of skipped ahead, but you kind of combined a couple segments there.
I did.
That's all right, though. You said the second time we've had Tom Petty?
It is the second time.
Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. Song is Running Down a Dream. One of my personal favorite guys. really sad. He passed. Tom Petty was a American singer, songwriter, musician, record producer, and actor. He was the lead vocalist and guitarist of Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, formed in 1976. In his career, he sold more than 80 million records worldwide, making him one of the best-selling music of all time. We say that just about everyone that we talk about. Petty and the Heartbreakers were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2002. He died of an accidental drug overdose on October 2nd, 2017, 1 week after the end of the Heartbreakers' 40th anniversary tour.
Yeah, I remember when that happened. Sad day.
Yeah, no.
One of those icons gone too soon.
And yeah, he had a lot. He was one of those guys that I was hoping would be like the Willie Nelsons and the Dylans, where he just kept going and kept touring, and your kid would see him when he's 90 and that kind of thing.
Exactly.
So it's really too bad.
It is. Our song of the week, as always, is brought to you by All Terra Central, your Trimble dealer for all things survey mapping and even marine gear. Check out allterracentral.com to find out more. All right, our Leica Geosystems weekly pro tip. Here's the tip.
Here we go.
This is you.
Yeah.
Oh, go for it.
That's why I said here we go.
Yeah.
All right, here's what we got. If you want training to actually stick, design learning around problems, not software features. Professionals learn fastest when training answers a real question they face in their workday. Instead of teaching buttons and workflows, start with, what decisions are you trying to make? And what problem are you solving? When learning is contextual, retention and confidence increase dramatically.
You know what? That's a little bit different pro tip that we would normally do, but it plays in perfectly with our guests.
I do like how you're looping in the pro tips with our guests. And it is very relevant.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you're noticing, if nothing else.
Yeah. I can say we're on this. It actually came up today. I think you were saying too, we're in the employee review time, know, and I was talking to one of my staff, and he had a problem, or he didn't have a problem. He's just like, oh, there's a really cool thing that we're working on. We're going to put this dashboard together that's got these metrics and some other things. I'm like, yeah, that sounds great. Just remember to ask yourself first, like, what problem am I solving with this? Or what is this solving? Because then that's the only way it can make business sense. Like, it may sound great and be really cool, but if it's not solving a problem, and if that's the biggest problem you have to solve, then it may not be something to focus on.
You know what? You're growing to be a really good leader. I'm so proud of you.
I appreciate
There's this transition that has happened over the last 2.5 years. I don't know what the coincidence is.
Like the only different data point is Will Wing. It came into my life, and then all of a sudden, I started turning things around.
Hey, Will Wing.
Hey, Will Wing. It works better when you take the beer koozie off of your. I
thought that was a custom thing there.
That's great,
hilarious. Thanks for joining us. How you been, buddy?
Yes, sir. Thrashing and bashing. Just met. I was with David Acosta earlier. So.
Oh yeah.
He's in town. So another New Mexico State Aggie. So I had to stop and say what's up to him. And
nice.
Just we're here. We made it.
Nice. Awesome. Well, I'm glad you made it. Appreciate you being here.
Guys. Yeah.
This is kind of like a free-for-all. It's like a flop house of podcasts here. People just show up and hop on wherever they want.
It pretty much is exactly that.
Exactly what I just said.
It should be a sign that's just like, hey, you want to come by and do a podcast?
Doors
always open.
Doors always open. There's beer in the fridge.
Right.
All right, let's get our guest in here. Our guest this week is brought to you by David Evans and Associates. To find out about the DEA difference, simply go to DEAINC.com.
It's funny you stumbled on your own company.
I know it. But we've been talking a lot about the DEA difference this past week as we're doing reviews and stuff like that, just as you mentioned. So,
interesting.
Check out the website. All right, let's get our guest in here. We got Shelby Sharpe with us, born in Las Cruces, New Mexico, close to my good friend Will Wing's heart. Attended New Mexico State University, where she achieved a BS in geography, and also attended Texas Tech, where she got her master's in curriculum and instruction, specializing in STEM education. That's going to be a big part of our conversation this evening. Her job is she's an instructional designer and educational researcher at the Conrad Blucher Institute for Surveying and Science. We've had a bunch of people from there on, as a matter of fact.
Yes.
Yep. And that's at Texas A&M University, Corpus Christi. Hobbies include Pilates, got a couple of kids. She's a huge Seahawks fan. So she's pretty happy right now.
Sure.
And she loves hanging out at the beach. Shelby, welcome to the Geoholics. Thanks for being here.
Thank you guys. And I'm sorry, Will, I don't know why I can't see you, but it's nice to meet you.
Oh, I can.
Oh, nice to meet you in the shadows.
Yeah.
Will in the shadows.
Well,
Yes.
you know, I gotta zoom in always for Kent because people need to see he needs close-ups.
Oh, okay.
Not exactly, but
whatever you need in your life, man.
Great.
We're getting Will in here.
Yeah. Keep going.
All right, well, let's get on with this.
Second.
Again, thanks for being here, Shelby. Really excited to have this conversation about STEM and geospatial specifically. So you started in geography and environmental science before kind of pivoting into teaching geospatial. Like, talk about that. Like, at what point did you realize that your impact might be bigger teaching rather than practicing?
Yeah, I think it's a really great question. It's interesting because the way that I became a Seahawks fan is after I finished New Mexico State University. I knew that I wanted to go to grad school. And so, apply. Also, I really love the mountains. And so I applied to, UC Boulder, University of Oregon, University of Washington, Western Washington, all of these programs that were either really environmentally science driven or geography and GIS driven, and ended up being, kind of the best fit to head up to Bellingham, which was the year that the Seahawks won the Super Bowl and then lost the Super Bowl to the Patriots. So it was a good comeback year this year. But while I was up in Bellingham,
I like how she says that. Won the Super Bowl, then lost it.
Yeah.
I like how that was already in the bag.
Yeah.
So it's cool. We got our comeback here. So, we're redeemed. But yeah, so when I was up in Bellingham, Will, are you from Las Cruces?
Northern New Mexico, Los Alamos.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So, I mean, New Mexico in general has a really different, I would say, like economic level than a lot of the other states. And it was my first time living outside of Las Cruces. And Bellingham, especially, has a really different socioeconomic level than where I'm from. And so I would just have these conversations, in these like master level classes with people who all had second homes, really just like ragging on states, cities who didn't separate recycling. And
interesting.
Like where I come from, there were just other problems that people were more focused on, like where their next meal came from, how they were going to find like a roof over their head, these things. And so it was one of those things that I've always had a really strong philosophical belief that education is one of the only things in life that no one can take away from you. And so I realized that that was something that had rang true for me and given me the opportunities. And so I wanted to go back home and give that opportunity to where I come from. And so my first job after that was teaching middle school science at Sierra Middle School in Las Cruces.
Nice.
And I just felt like, one, STEM education really does have the opportunity to bring more equity because of the jobs that you can go into. And then also by being somebody who can communicate in that sense, who has a science background, but can also bring that forward, we're able to really bridge that gap. And I think that, ended up being really where my career went.
Very cool. Well, one of the reasons I'm happy that Will is here is he is big time into, really focusing on the next generation of geospatialists, we'll call it.
Yeah.
So yeah, thanks for being here, Will, if I haven't thanked you already.
No, absolutely. I'm glad you pulled me in on this one, Shelby. That's a great background. Love hearing that analogy because it's very true. And, somebody with your background and my background that's seen the really raw rural parts of the country, you really understand the benefit of giving these kids, even the adults, this information to help them, make a career out of something that they might never have known about anywhere else. So that's awesome.
And Shelby, can you give us the little bit of the fill in the gap between middle school science teacher to geospatial education training? Like, how did you jump into that boat?
Honestly, I bopped around for.
Or did you fall into it?
Well, that actually ended up being my analogy with pelicans. So that's another story. But I kind of bopped around teaching middle school, elementary, high school science and math in different places and spaces, Washington, New Mexico, Texas, and then ended up in Corpus Christi, where I decided to do my terminal degree, my PhD in curriculum and instruction, with an emphasis in education technology, and really kind of like honing in even further on where I was going with STEM education. And originally, my plan, honestly, like I love a good map more than most. I mean, I have a tattoo, but I wasn't really, planning on. I didn't know I was going to be able to be so specific in geospatial education. So I had kind of just always planned on being a little bit more broad in STEM education and kind of looking at it from maybe, I don't know, like a school district level, right? Kind of like planning it out. But when I started my PhD, I actually found my way into what we call the town halls that we have at the Conrad Blucher Institute. And so we have these like quarterly things. They're a potluck. We're a nonprofit research institute, right? It's like bring your own food. Here we are. And I just kind of showed up with a friend and have not let Dr. Rick Smith, the director, get rid of me since. I was like, you guys love maps. I love maps.
You're stuck with me.
Exactly. And so I kind of, happenstance didn't realize that I would end up being able to make a career in something I was so specifically passionate about since undergrad. But, just sometimes the cards fall in your favor in life.
Well said. Absolutely is the case. So you kind of work at the intersection of education and the active workforce. Many people say that there's a disconnect between what's being taught in the classroom and what employers really need. Talk about what that disconnect looks like.
Well, yeah. What are you seeing?
One, I do just want to credit the programs out there right now inside of geomatics. And honestly, even mine back in the day with GIS. I mean, New Mexico State's really prepared me for my next steps, giving me my first opportunity in a research institute all the way to where I am now. And I think that we've seen a lot of really great things with like internships and externships and the way that research institutes navigate and partner with these programs. One of the really interesting things that I'm seeing is from my dissertation that I'm finishing up right now, which is that one of the disconnects I've found is the ABET accrediting system that accredits geomatics, undergraduate programs.
Ooh,
yeah.
The criteria for that actually doesn't completely align with the surveying body of knowledge that was written and is supposed to be like, from the NSPS, like one of these guiding documents. And so it's funny because, of course, we should always, do more to bring industry and academia to the table. And we should always like work and strive and like keep producing and hustling that. But it's interesting where I'm at right now in my research, where I'm seeing like an actual disconnect in some of the guiding and like principal documents that we're structuring around.
Wow.
And so I think that truly, from what I've talked, with the active workforce about, those are some of the things that they are missing is the business project management skills, these communication factors that are so big in the projects that you do geospatially in general.
Sure.
And, we are at a little bit more of a intertwined sort of field in the sense that it's like, you don't just need to know the math behind it, right? Like you don't just need to know the science to actually apply it, to be an applied field. You do have these other sort of disconnects. And so that's what I've seen so far. And, it turns out the research that I've been able to do on my dissertation is kind of backed that. So we actually just submitted that for publication, I think last week. So hopefully that works.
So what do we do about it?
Well, I mean, I think one of the things is making the accrediting bodies aware that there might be this disconnect and some missing criteria. And then also the next phase of the research is looking to see if the undergraduate programs across the country have made up for that. through their program requirements. And so I think right now that's a big unanswered question
Mm.
that we just haven't had anybody do the research to really validly make that statement on. And so I don't know, stay tuned.
Yeah.
I'm still looking up what an externship is. You kind of got me on that one.
The ABET accreditation is pretty important because it's a requirement for a lot of states in their licensure.
Oh, it's huge.
Right.
And so, but what I've seen, I mean, even in New Mexico State,
Right.
it transitioned into a geomatics program, which I'm not sure if it's got the same ABET accreditation as the survey engineering. Like when I went to school, it was an engineering degree. It was survey engineering, you know, it was ABET accredited. We were, you know, we took a lot of classes that I'm pretty sure I didn't need to take to be a professional surveyor. And I think you're seeing in the geomatics program, they're doing exactly what you're talking about, Shelby, where they're getting more exposure to different things that maybe not be ABET accredited, but as far as in the real world, those are the skills that you need, you know, the communications,
Right.
even more GIS. Like we maybe took 3 or 4 GIS classes in the ABET accredited program that I was in. You know, this was ancient. This was a long time ago, but I still think that's lacking. And so that's awesome that you're putting some light on that to show that, you know, there's a lot of other things that you can focus on. You don't necessarily need that stamp of approval to turn out a successful surveyor.
Well, it's really funny that you bring that up because I could nerd out on just ABET accreditation for longer than anybody on this podcast wants me to. But the funny thing is that inside of, you know, surveying and geomatics and surveying engineering technology, all of these, you know, if we're encompassing this under something that prepares our next talent pool, our next generation of talent for these degrees or these professions, there's 3 different ABET commissions that accredit them. And so you have ANSAC, which is the science, more focused one. You have the engineering one, and then you have engineering technology, and EAC and ETAC. And so in a lot of ways they are really similar, but what you're talking about, depending on like the level of math that's required for the program, right? These different things actually usually determine which one programs try to get accredited under, which is another interesting sort of, you know, like, do we have a disconnect there? What's happening? Does it prepare us differently?
And then do you think the institutions are making decisions based on what is the easiest path to accreditation, not necessarily what's the best for a program? Do you see that?
You know, I can't speak to that just because I would say that's a little bit more on the programmatic administration level than what I do.
Sure.
Um, I really, you know, just love a good statistic, and so ran a lot of them. But I think that, you know, you could maybe see, depending on even higher level politics of the university than your program itself, right? If you're no longer able to go up to this math level, if you're no longer able to offer this course, these different things, then yeah, you might want to seek accreditation under a different commission that's more in line for that.
Yeah.
If you're more technology based. So I'm sure that you definitely do make that decision accordingly, right?
Yeah, I have to. Does
Yeah.
all the engineering or does all the survey and geospatial stuff fall under engineering technology?
I think the geomatics degree is engineering technology. I'm not for certain. Like I said, when I was there, it was, you know, surveying engineering. It was an ABET accredited, and the thing was that the people before us fought so hard to get that, to get surveying under that umbrella.
Yep.
They didn't want to let it go, and there's a lot of signs of the time saying, hey, you know, we need to curb this towards getting the students prepared for the real world. But then you have that kind of old school going, no, we fought to get this. Yes, you need to take matrix algebra.
Right.
Like, am I going to use matrix algebra more, or am I going to, ArcGIS 4?
Yeah,
4 classes in that is going to make me a better prepared individual to go in the field. So I think there's kind of a bind there. But I think statistics, Shelby, you're going to be able to see this stuff, which direction it's going. But from somebody just sitting in the back row watching it, I see a lot more participation on the geomatics side where it was because we would lose a lot of students to civil engineering. It was like, if I have to take all this math, I mean,
I might as well get a civil degree.
Exactly. Because at that time there was more opportunity, and the paychecks were higher. So
right.
Times change. And I think, having somebody like you to be able to literally map this, and tell other people about it and get more programs enlightened to where we can start growing this. Because like I said,
isn't surveying such a weird thing though? I've heard a lot of people refer to it as an art form, right? Like surveying, like there's only so much that can be taught in a classroom, and you just have to get the hands-on experience working under what's hopefully a really good mentor, right? To really springboard your career, and surveying is just so interesting.
Well, and there's different, going into the sort of like educational theory behind it, right? We have different types of learning. And I think you hit on a really good point that surveying, a lot of it is experiential learning. And that's, not only one of the things that we've seen in the next generation of the workforce that we're talking about, but also in how we need to reconsider teaching the active workforce, is that we're talking to people who do have those basics, that have taken those math classes, that have sat down and been, the traditional sort of like student in the classroom, just getting this knowledge fed into them. But now you have working professionals who have an experience and a knowledge base. And if we pull in experiential learning and then just really going into what the profession is, right? Like it's a licensed profession to protect the public interest.
Sure.
And so when we're talking about the active workforce and what we should be doing in continuing education, we should be taking their knowledge base and then really considering professional judgment at a level that speaks to the active workforce.
Sure.
Let's talk about the kids a little bit.
Yeah.
My kids? Who's kids?
Not your kids, the kids, the kiddos. Let's start this. Tell us a little bit about what that what teaching the kids about the geospatial world looks like. How do you start to teach a middle schooler what surveying is?
Let's go lower. How do you teach a first grader?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Tic-tac-toe. That's what I always give them. I said, it's just tic-tac-toe. Yeah. That's the coordinate system. You're welcome.
So we have a really cool dog. Her name is Rose. She's our LiDAR puppy. So she's a robot dog. TxDOT has a way more expensive, way more high-tech version. But ours gets the job done for 6-year-olds, because what we're able to do, starting all the way at 6, going all the way through high school, is we're able to take these concepts that are, in a lot of ways really abstract when you and I are talking about them right now. Then I say, do you guys want to know like what LiDAR is? And instead of just talking about, okay, so there's like a laser and it does this and that, right? Like, meet Rose. And then I'm going to put my iPad up here. And like, do you see you right there? Do you see how you can see your body? So she's shooting out lasers, and that's that really spinny thing. And depending on how fast they go back to her, we can make this.
That's so cool.
And so I think
how is the engagement when you tell them that?
Oh man, dude, I have so many 6-year-olds that are going to be like surveyors and geospatial scientists. Get ready.
Those are the
We're not even going to have a talent issue anymore.
Love it.
Those are the stories I can't wait to hear.
Yeah.
It's like, yes.
Yeah. When someone says like, you know what, I just remembered back in elementary school, there was somebody talking about a dog and LiDAR and this, and then I found out it was a degree, and you're like, oh my God, it works.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I'm sure Shelby can attest, it's not the one time that you go, it's the third time that you go, right? Then, I'll ask kids all the time, anybody here know what a surveyor is? And 3 of them raise their hand. How do you know? You were here last year, the year before. Like, okay.
And you're like, yes.
Making progress.
Exactly. 100%. Yeah. So, that's our goal, right? Like our goal is to make Rose famous in Corpus, because eventually enough people talk about the dog where they're like, what was that thing called again? LiDAR. Yeah, that's right.
That's awesome. Very cool. Real quick, I want to get your opinion on something, if you have an opinion on this. We were talking about ABET accreditation, right? And as you are well aware, I'm sure, you know, in the country here, every state is a little bit different as when it comes to, you know, being fulfilling the requirements for licensure. And Arizona, for example, you don't need to have, you know, any post-secondary education. Well, there's other states where you have to have a 4-year degree from an accredited program. What are
Yeah.
your thoughts on that first and foremost?
You know, I wouldn't claim myself to be one, a surveyor, just to be clear. Um, but also, you know, knowledgeable enough to where I had a really strong opinion as in a specific way. So I'll just kind of like go back to the literature for this. And so if we look at the body of knowledge for surveying that
Mhm.
like is the adopted body of knowledge, you know, the first paper in the series starts out by stating that the level of depth required and knowledge for a licensed profession, and specifically speaking on surveying, is equivalent to a 4-year degree.
Mm.
And so it is the reason why I chose 4-year undergraduate ABET accredited programs,
Mhm.
because it's in line with the body of knowledge.
Sure.
Interesting.
I like that. Different answer than I've heard in the past.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's
that's a
an
good one.
investment, right? Like
For sure.
it's an
Yeah.
investment mentally, financially, everything. And so you want to make sure that you're filling out whatever requirements are within your state. I mean,
Yeah.
there's a lot of other programs out there, but if you don't see those 4 letters,
Yep.
you're like, am I wasting my time? Is this going to really count? I mean,
Right.
but
Yeah. Yeah. Are there ABET accredited 2-year programs or is it just a 4-year program?
Yeah, there are.
2-year
They
programs as well?
specifically fall under the Engineering Technology
Okay.
Commission.
Yeah. I wasn't aware of
Yeah.
that. Wasn't aware of that. So we talked about, you know, of course, there being a shortage of talent, let's call it that, in the survey world. From your perspective, Shelby, do you think it's an accessibility and awareness problem, or is it something different?
Um, you know, I think that those in a lot of ways really complement each other. And so my expertise is in more of the accessibility realm of it.
Mm-hmm.
I work at this point with, you know, experts in their scientific field realm to create accessible learning. And I think that one of the really
Mm-hmm.
great things that a lot of programs are doing is creating more online learning environments, working with industry so that you still have that experiential learning, but able to open up this profession, all of these professions, to more than just where the university is based.
Mm-hmm.
But we have to actually invest in making it quality education, right? Like we cannot just transition
Yeah.
everything online and be like, well, that was fine. That's
Mm.
great.
Yeah.
And so that's, you know, where an instructional designer comes in. That's where somebody comes in that really considers and has a background and has been trained on sort of like transitioning those educational environments into
Mm-hmm.
something that can be successful in an online environment. So then we have more accessibility nationwide.
Mm-hmm.
But we also then, by having more accessibility, can create more awareness.
Yeah.
what about CTE? Have you dealt with that or any of their conferences or anything?
No, just as far as like the exam goes.
No, this was we went to a conference. It was a national conference last year here in Phoenix. It was counselors and
Oh,
teachers.
CTE. I'm sorry.
CTE.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
I was thinking CST. I was
Yeah.
like,
Oh no, another good one though. Another good one. Yeah. No, yeah,
Uh,
because kind of where our standpoint was, we can talk to the kids, but if the teachers and the counselors don't know what we're teaching them, then they
And
need
so
to
you get one shot and that's
Right.
it. It
Yeah,
needs to be
yeah.
reinforced.
So we thought if we can go to this conference, meet the teachers, meet the counselors, kind of show them what we're all about, then they can kind of reverberate with that the students, and it was a hit. I mean, they loved it.
oh yeah.
We were ill prepared on, they're like, what's your curriculum? We want to get this going right now. And we were like, we're just here to meet everyone and say hi. We don't have a whole thing yet,
right.
but it got a spark going.
Well, yes, and honestly, it's going really well in Texas with the GELS CTE, which is the Geospatial Engineering and Land Surveying CTE,
Right.
that's been brought online by quite a few different people. Actually, what I'm in Katy, Texas for working with Isidro Garza, Seneca Holland, who, as far as the CTE goes, I would highly recommend having a conversation with Seneca Holland, who's really spearheaded it as far as like TAMUCC, all of the work that we've done. And so I really just like support on that one. But that's a big part of our education and outreach is how do we start this pipeline earlier? How do we start it through CTE programs, right? And then for me, being an instructional designer and being somebody who used to work in the K through 12 space, how do I make sure that these experts in the field and these college professors are communicating in a way that's going to be successful for high school students, which is a really big thing. Like you were saying, right? Like you're going to go to this thing, but if the teachers, if the directors, these people don't actually know anything about geospatial sciences, how are we going to get it into the classroom? And so one of the things in Texas is to work with the universities and colleges, 2-year and 4-year, that do have successful programs and can sort of like help navigate that pathway.
Yeah, because that highlights the path for. I mean, it lays down the baseline for other people to follow. I
Hmm.
think in Arizona we have a real rocky road ahead to get onto that path, and baby steps. But I think the CTE program was one of the best influential conferences that we've been to, where we got to talk to the
Hmm.
people who are responsible for teaching the kids and enlightening them on these opportunities. So that's
Yeah.
great that you're
Yeah.
you're in that field and in the trenches.
There's plenty of work to do.
Educate
That's
the educators, right?
100%. That's what I say my teaching role is now is I just teach teachers.
Mm.
I love it. I love it. So you mentioned that I think you're wrapping up your PhD, right? In learning
Mhm.
sciences, is it?
Oh my gosh, it's the longest title in the world. I don't totally understand why it is, but it's curriculum and instruction learning sciences with
Okay.
an emphasis in instructional design and
Good God.
education technology. I know.
Wow.
It's
Wow.
like
Can you? I'm sorry to cut you off, but you talked about the I'm curious on the educational technology part. Like
Mhm.
I now understand what an institutional designer is.
Right.
I'm curious about the educational technologies. Are we talking about laptops and tablets in schools, or is it much further than that?
The field as a whole is
Hmm.
obviously a lot further than that. My work dove a little bit more into AI, large language
Mm.
models, equity inside of that. I have, some good friends and colleagues in the program who have gone more into like virtual reality, that sort
Mm.
of space. And so it depends on what sort of technology you're really interested in researching. And then, kind of like what your use. I would say most of us in the program are really interested in utilizing technology to create equitable and accessible learning. And so that means really thoughtfully using
Mm.
technology. And I think it's really easy. I mean, I'm sure it's true. You guys see it in your own ways, but really easy to have a new shiny technology or toy and just be like,
Mm.
that's going to solve the problem.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
So, we
Definitely.
have the same issues in education.
interesting.
Yep.
Yeah, getting it into their hands, that's usually the hard part. I think
Mhm.
a lot of the schools that we work with are rural. Some are on reservations. Just running water is
Yeah.
not even common there. So trying to get 10 laptops for students to learn this stuff is
Mm.
is quite a chore. But I think with what you're doing, it's paving a path, right? Like you're showing these students, like here there's a way to do it, whether it's through grants, whether it's through um you know universities, your public schools, school systems. There's a path to do it, and I think a lot of them don't know that. And so how are you, like, what's your biggest tool that you use to get out to some of these schools that really probably never even see the light?
So, we have kind of a saying with it that like every school district has their own love language.
Hmm.
And I think that that's a really important thing for people to keep in mind is like you're saying, right? Like every school, every school district, every state, whether you're in Bellingham or you're in Las Cruces, has a different need that they're most concerned about. And so you really, whatever you're doing, you need to get on a school district, a school's level, right? And so, like, I can do my job and I can create quality, I can help create
Mm,
quality education in online spaces to where, a kid on the reservation has the opportunity to
mm,
actually possibly have awareness, have access to this information, this content. But I need like a whole team. I need somebody doing another job where they're figuring out where the laptops are going to come from, right? Like I need somebody who's focused on infrastructure. Like there are so many moving parts. And I think that's one of the things that we always have to keep in mind when you're talking about something like a talent shortage or like a
mm.
workforce crisis is that it's a multifaceted problem that needs a multifaceted approach and nobody can do it all. So we all have to kind of
Right.
like find our place, find our space, figure out what the need is, and then figure out
Mm,
how we can be a piece of the puzzle that helps solve that.
sure. Yep, yep. So I'm curious, there's a ton of surveyors that have 30 plus years experience, right? And there's probably a large percentage of that group that doesn't have any post-secondary education, but they're subject matter experts. What
Mhm.
role can they play in this?
I mean, they play a huge role in it. One, by being my subject matter expert.
Right.
Yeah, living proof.
By teaching me things. But there's one of the coolest things about surveying is generational knowledge transfer. And that is how the workforce, it's one of the biggest parts about the culture of the workforce. And it's to me like one of the coolest parts is that it is this trade that has been passed down generation to generation. And so anybody who has 30 years of experience surveying is a huge, important part of that.
Mhm.
Is it going to be the same way necessarily that we like develop the current talent and pipeline? No, probably not, honestly. It's 30 years in a different time,
Sure.
but that does not at all negate who they are as whether it's like an SME, as a surveyor, as somebody that I want to talk to, as somebody who's incredibly pivotal at being a mentor, at
Mm,
being a person who passes down that generational knowledge. And the other thing about surveying is that it's so region specific,
yeah.
right? Like that's one of the biggest parts about that generational knowledge transfer is what Nedra Foster Townsend is able to teach me in Silsbee, Texas versus like what Jim Naismith is able to teach me on the coast are two very, very different things that have such different like histories and background that speak into the research that's involved in the field that I think, you know, those 30 years make the difference. They are the
Mm,
difference.
Yeah,
sure.
just tapping into that experience. I mean, I
Yep.
think a lot of those individuals with that have such valuable,
Oh yeah.
you know, tips that they can give because it's things they wish they would have done or things that they wish
Hmm.
they could go back and still do right now. They're just at a point in their career that it's probably not going to happen, but they can give the advice to
Right.
the next generation. So
Well, and speaking on, education technology and how we can utilize that for equitability and like accessibility. So you have these experts who have like such specialized knowledge, right? And in the past, they had a handful of people that they mentored.
Yep.
And what we're able to do is actually create these online courses and like professional development where we take this generational knowledge and make it accessible to
Mm,
like everyone who wants to see it, right?
oh
You
wow.
just mentored thousands of surveyors if they want
Wow.
to, instead of just a handful. And I think that that is such a cool, unique, sort of like specific accessibility that we're able to sort of like create now.
Right.
Is there a need, or is there not, I know that I'm sure there's a need, but what's the population of geospatial educators out there today look like? I mean, if a university wanted to start a geospatial program, how hard would it be to find educators?
Oh, I mean, I think the educator workforce or sorry, shortage, no
Yeah.
matter where you're talking about is true, right? Like
Okay.
Sure.
Yeah, teacher burnout in K through 12 space is incredibly real. There's always been a need for STEM educators more than anybody. And so I don't have like the specific numbers on it in academia and like undergrad and higher education, but I definitely hear that conversation had a lot is that,
Okay.
Yeah.
well, also when you're in a STEM field, just to be honest, you can make more money
Yeah, no doubt.
in the STEM field versus like educating the STEM field.
Yeah. So what's the I hate to be the person that asked this question, but why would you get into the geospatial education field or any STEM education if the private sector is so much more
I
rewarding?
mean,
I don't know.
passion and teaching
Yeah.
moments.
Yeah. Leaving a legacy, Sean.
Exactly.
There's that.
There's that.
Hey, there's going to be some opportunity if you guys are interested.
We got nothing but time, Will. Hit us with it.
Yes. At one of the conferences I went to, I had a conversation with the ASU engineering dean, and I asked him why there was not a surveying program in there. I said, we have every other degree program that's all based on surveying, but we don't have any. Well, apparently that fell on some ears, and they're going to be teaching a surveying class next semester, and they need help.
Nice.
So, Kent's available.
Very cool.
So, yeah.
Not really.
Shelby really didn't sell teaching yet. So
right.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So I think it's just little, baby steps like that. Baby steps like that. But
planting the seed, right?
It's a hard sell. It is. Everybody's so busy right now. It's hard to take a step back. But I think you're going to find that the people that do it are going to be in a position to where they can do it.
Right.
And hopefully there's enough knowledge there that, that gets passed and we don't have a shortage, because we don't want it to be awesome one year and then the next year just tank.
Yeah. Well, I think the problem we're seeing, I mean, maybe we're getting off topic here just a little bit, but because there's this huge shortage of surveyors, people who need surveyors are finding different ways to not need a surveyor. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's natural, right?
Yeah, exactly. So if you could change something about geospatial education as you see it from your perspective, what would you do differently?
Man, I don't know. I think it's a great question. There's a lot of interesting sort of like gray spaces in education right now that come around technology. I think that in some ways we've seen a really big pendulum swing where, especially like post COVID, everything went online, right? And hopefully we're starting to see a little bit of, like I said, I'm a huge proponent of accessibility and equitability. But like the thing that made me fall in love with geography and GIS back at NMSU was the Oregon Mountains. Like I wanted a career where I could, map things and be in the mountains and be outside. And I think that is a really big part of geospatial education. And so making sure that is still a big part of like the core of who we are as a field, I think is really important. One, for awareness, two, for pulling talent into a pipeline, and three, just like keeping the heart and the culture of it all.
Yeah, absolutely. I think adventure is a huge sell for the geospatial industry. I mean, it's, I remember just thinking if I could just get a job where I could get paid to go off-roading, I would be set,
hired.
Teachers like, there's no such thing as that. Yes, there is. Yes, there is.
That's pretty good.
But yeah, that's where it starts. And then, I mean, we've got a career map now that just, if you can get through those first hoops, there's just a beret of highways that you can take depending on what you want to do. But you talk to high school kids, and I've got two of them, and they can't see past, the next 2 years. And so being able to have a use case, right? Have use cases that show, look at this guy. He, came from a small town or came from interstate, wherever they came from. And now look where they are. So you've got somebody that wrote their own story, and now you can use that as a use case to show these other kids. And that's the biggest sell for me, coming up,
Yeah.
just having a hero, something like that, to a real person that you could see their path.
And that you can relate to, right?
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's why it's important that in all fields, but especially in STEM fields, that is why diversity is important, is because sitting there as a girl in high school and the only people who are talking to me are men about a field, it's harder to see yourself,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
And so I just think that's true in general, like having just a diverse population of whatever the STEM profession is,
Mm.
when you do outreach, like when
Sure.
you're doing these things, more people see themselves in you.
Oh,
And
yeah.
therefore, you
Definitely.
get more people in the field.
Yep. And I always tell them, this equipment doesn't know if you're male, female, what your race is, how tall you are. It's all on you. So,
Mhm.
it's up to you. Get on board and put this thing in overdrive, because it's independent of all that stuff, which
Yeah.
makes it beautiful.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And surveying is such a small part of the geospatial umbrella. There's so many different things that, kids interested in getting into STEM can get into, different directions they can go.
And I'm just thinking, like, I made it through all the way through getting a bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering, and I was never, ever introduced to anything about surveying or GIS or GPS or any of that
Well,
stuff.
you're old too. Back then, they didn't do that.
I understand that, but I guess my question for Shelby is, given that, what is it, you said that's old. Is that an old curriculum? Now, if I went is my daughter going to get some sort of, outside of, having a dad and
Good question.
that's a civil, my daughter, if she didn't know me, would she get exposed to any geospatial content ever?
So this is
Unless
such
she
an
sees Will?
interesting, yeah. So this is
Yeah.
such an interesting question, which will, I think you might be able to speak on this too, but like I was physical geography, right? Bachelor of Science at NMSU. And until I worked at the Conrad Blucher Institute, I did not know there was a surveying program at NMSU.
That is crazy.
Yeah. So I fully get it.
So clearly we may have an awareness issue.
Yeah. I'm like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
And I didn't even realize how much the fields were related.
Yeah.
When I was doing my bachelor's, I was like, no, the closest thing to GIS and geography is geology, obviously, because I had a geomorphology class. So I was like, what do you mean you also measure and map things? That's wild.
Right? Yeah, the guy just isn't on the boat, just drawing the drawing the coastline to make the map. Like,
That's awesome.
So no, I totally feel you.
All right.
Yeah. So what gives you the most hope about the next generation of, people entering STEM?
Well, I was lucky enough this year to serve as the director for the Coastal Bend Regional Science Fair, down in Corpus, where I live. And so what we do is we have a bunch of different school districts that hold their science fairs.
Nice.
And then the, different grade levels, different categories that place, they can go to regionals. And it's supposed to really be a sort of like encouraging opportunity. I did elementary. I love little kids. And so, I ended up getting to, on Valentine's Day, host this event for over 360 young scientists. And so one of my most recent really encouraging moments for the next generation of STEM is, that I got to share a love of science and math and technology and engineering with 360 kiddos on Valentine's Day. And they were stoked.
That's
and like,
awesome.
they were so curious, and were so excited that they had actually gathered the knowledge and thought about it critically to consider these questions. And we're seeing that, and it's awesome.
Yeah, it's so cool. And there's a lot of people doing a lot of really cool things, like GeoBus, for example.
Oh yeah,
Our good friends there.
Yeah,
I want a GeoBus.
Yeah, wait, we can hook you up.
We know some guys.
Yeah.
All right, tell them to come to Corpus, or I'll go to Arizona to get my GeoBus. You guys let me know.
We'll drive it there. We'll deliver it.
Okay. I think we're onto something here.
Yeah, exactly.
Future City, that's another one. Kent, you went with me to Future City last year.
Future City's cool.
That's
That'd be cool.
NCWS actually they give out an award for the best use of land surveying principles. So for the past 5 or 6 years, I've gone down there, and Kent went with me last year, and we interviewed these kids, and
I was shocked.
The first question you ask them is it's a rubric, right? You're asking them, does anybody know what land surveying is? And again, it's you were here last year. We remember you. We specifically did this. We made contours on our project because we remember you last year.
That's cool.
We're getting those points.
Yes. Definitely. But that's a great program. I mean, same thing. It's a regional. Then they have a national. I think they're going to Washington this year. So
it's awesome.
Yeah, it's just, but I think it's, Shelby, it's just repetition, right? Even with mentoring, like it's just, kids don't listen. You got to tell them 3 or 4 times, and they got to go figure it out, and then they get it. So, but if you're not there to keep reminding them, they're going to stray off. So
it's true. It's true. Well, that's like, we talk about, like we've got Get Kids in a Survey, right? Which is kind of cool, for kids in elementary school, right?
Great material.
Exposure. But we don't have anything after that.
Yeah.
We don't have Keep Kids in a Survey.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I've said that before.
Yeah. And then like, Will, you mentioned it, going to conferences where there's a bunch of counselors in that type thing. I mean, that's the heart of it. If you can get them to buy into it and, start creating awareness, that could be a game changer. No doubt about it.
Well, awareness is, and maybe Shelby can comment on this, awareness only gets you to the first step. Right. And then it's like, okay, we're aware. True. Now give me some stuff. And you're like, now we're creating a group to figure that out. And then it falls flat. Is that what you see, Shelby?
Well, luckily for us, it doesn't fall flat because we do have that program
outside of the Conrad Bleacher Institute bubble.
Oh, man, I love where I work. But no, I totally agree, right? Like you almost have to think about it in a sort of like sales position way. 100%. You can be like, have you heard about GIS? Have you heard about land surveying? Like, no, tell me about it. They're like, well, I want to know. I want to do more. And then you're like, we're working on getting that program up and running.
It's like 15, 20 years. That should be off and running. We should be good.
Yeah, you got to have a product to sell for sure.
Right.
Definitely. I'm going to backtrack. This is normally something Sean would do. But you mentioned about like post-COVID education, right? And how that changed. Like, talk about the change post-COVID when it comes to education. And is it for the better?
That's good.
Okay. Well, so in 2020, I was pregnant with my daughter, Ella. And so I was inside. And then
she?
She was also inside until December 24th. And so in New Mexico, where I was, that was like the height. And so, had a beautiful baby girl and then taught virtually for the rest of the year.
Sure.
Because I was assumedly the best teacher to just go ahead and take that last virtual spot for anybody who didn't want to like come back into the classroom.
Yep.
And so then I taught the next year specifically focused on math. And in general, what we saw was most of the students were at least like 2 grade levels below as far as their testing and skills go. And like one of my proud teacher moments was that we were able to have an on average raise of like 2 grade levels by the end of the year. Right. But like, it was not easy.
Put that on your resume.
Yeah.
It was not easy for me. It was not easy for them. A lot of repetition, buckling down. I think that I'm probably not the best person to go into the research of how it affected different grade levels emotionally and like socially.
Sure.
But I think, like I said, what you ended up seeing as far as the undergraduate level was a lot of students transfer to like online. A lot of research come out about how it was a really sudden shift and go through that. But then I think you saw universities see that there was opportunity to possibly have like bigger classes, have more accessibility, have bigger numbers by keeping things online, or at least like offering them online.
Yeah.
And I think that in some ways, you have like a lot of professors, a lot of instructors that have really taken the bull by the horns and
Mhm.
like figured out how to figure it out and
Mm.
made really cool online spaces and environments that impact students. And
Yeah.
then you have some that are still struggling. And I do wonder, are we
Mhm.
providing enough support, whether it's through like instructional designers, whether it's whatever way you want to do it? Are we providing enough support to the teachers
Right.
at the undergrad level
Mm.
to completely like transition
Yeah.
online?
Are you getting the support from the professionals that are, because I know a lot of these, if you're taking an online class, you have a lab. Obviously, it's hard to teach a lab
Right.
online. So I know that they're getting businesses involved
Yep.
and getting, surveyors involved with helping out in this aspect of you're teaching boundary 101, then
Right.
I sign up for the to take students out whenever they can learn some
Mhm.
boundary. How has that been a challenge for you to find participants in that, or
Well, honestly, we weren't the ones who spearheaded that as much in Texas. It was Isidro Garza and Gracia Geomatics. And the really
Hmm.
cool thing is that's we're actually going out to film tomorrow,
Oh, wow.
one of their field Fridays or Friday
Nice.
field
oh,
days.
okay.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And but I mean, when you talk about the buy-in, he'll be the first person to tell you that your buy-in in the industry has to be big, right?
Yeah.
Like you have to actually, if you want to be a part of the solution, you have to be willing to be out there on Fridays. You have to be willing to, have some of your field crew out there.
Right.
You're working with different companies on technology, all of this stuff. And so, yeah, luckily we're in an industry that is really passionate about the next generation.
Mhm.
So I think that you have a lot of companies that want to do that. And we've had a lot of people that are just totally in on, being a part of the solution.
Yep.
But it takes a community and it definitely takes industry. That's for sure.
Yeah.
And I think I already know the answer, but have you seen, you probably have a very good perspective. Have you seen a big difference, talking about the post-COVID and the online learning model, is the STEM education harder or more difficult in that post-COVID learning model versus other education trees, so to speak?
Yeah. I personally kind of think that
I didn't ask you.
Oh yeah, go ahead. Sorry. I'll chime in a second.
I mean, we're talking about a really broad thing here. Like STEM education in and of itself is so broad. I'm like, I don't know, is programming more difficult, right, in an online environment? I kind of
Yeah.
no offense to anybody who comes for me in computer science, but I just kind of think you could learn it on a computer.
Right.
Sure.
But are you going to be able to like learn the different instruments that you need in the field for land surveying
Mm.
only through a computer? Yeah, absolutely not. Right?
Right.
Like, so I
Yeah.
think it depends on the STEM field specifically, but also, we have things like drafting and design. Can you do all of those labs on a
Yeah,
computer?
yeah,
Yes, you
exactly.
literally
Yep.
have to do all those labs on a computer.
Right.
I tell the kids
So,
all the time, I said, if you learn how to draft, you can draft from your apartment in any country in the world.
yes.
Right.
I mean, it's independent of
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
that skill is universal. So
Yeah,
that's
100%.
Yeah. Yeah. So by the way, what Shelby just said is
Uh-huh.
exactly what I was
I
going to say.
knew that. I knew she just stole your answer.
She stole it. Yeah.
Thanks a lot, Shelby.
Yeah, right.
That's so funny. What else you got?
I don't know. What else do you want to get out there, Shelby? We're kind of hit on a lot of cool topics here.
Oh man, I don't know. I mean, you guys let me know.
What are you excited about,
Yeah.
Shelby?
What am I excited about? Well, I'm pretty excited about Barefoot Beach Mardi Gras this weekend. Have you guys ever heard of it?
Not until now.
what?
Oh,
But why
well,
aren't we invited? That's my question.
why are
Seriously.
you guys not taking my new Geo bus to Corpus this weekend?
Ah,
So you can be
I
at
So we can
Barefoot
deliver
Beach
your
Mardi
Geo
Gras.
bus.
No, it's really cool that so I guess to backtrack this, I live on the island outside of Corpus.
Okay.
And so we have a Mardi Gras parade that runs down the beach, and it's like one of
Nice.
the biggest events that happens on Saturday. So, as soon as I'm done being excited filming the next generation of geospatial professionals, I'm going to go be really excited on the beach.
That's awesome. We'll put it on our calendar for next year.
Yeah, you probably see Bill Swope down there, right?
Probably,
isn't that where he's
right?
from? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, aren't you guys going to be? Are you going to the?
We're going to New Orleans.
But that's for the ASPRS
thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Nice.
it's outside. It's in Nichols. It's at where
Nichols
is that?
State.
It's in
Thibodeau.
Thibodeau. Yeah, Thibodeau.
Yeah.
So I got one, two last questions if you guys don't have anything else, but I have one, and it's going to be hard for me to articulate. But what does yeah, right?
No comment.
What is success going to look like in a geography and environmental science education kind of like, we're working toward a goal, right? More awareness, more adaptation, more. What does success look like when, you're not going to be done, but you're going to, in 20 years and you look back, what is it going to look like if you're going to think, man, I was really successful and this had an impact?
Ooh, me personally?
Well, I would say you personally in the STEM education, especially in the geospatial education space. What does that look like?
I think that's really interesting because I love using sort of like the geospatial space and geospatial professionals and everything when we're just talking about how we all are very spatially oriented and love a good map.
Yeah.
But when you're talking about what the success of it is, I think you almost have to specify a little bit more, right? And so that might look really different for surveyors in Arizona and getting a program online at ASU versus, what the work that's going on with the GEL CTE in Texas looks like versus, my focus more inside of continuing education and being able to be a part of. So I guess for me, what success looks like inside of this role is being able to continue to meet these amazing professionals with decades of experience, and creating something successful to where generational knowledge transfer is no longer just the lucky few that they mentored, but we create a space where, we take this really unique and special thing about surveying, and we make it accessible.
Maybe like every mentee has a mentor kind of thing. Like if there is a potential mentee, then they have a.
No, like more like, and I bring her up because she's like, I just think one of the coolest people ever. But Nedra Foster Townsend is the only female LSLS in the state of Texas.
Yeah.
And, she is one person in a huge state. And so I am one of the very lucky people who have gotten to have conversations with her and spend time with her and create a course with her. And so what I consider a success is that with Nedra, I'm going to be able to create something to where the entire nation, if they want to, gets to have this knowledge transfer from the only, female LS in Texas.
That's cool.
That is super cool. So if there's somebody listening right now that, whether it's a subject matter expert or something different that's just interested in finding out more, what can they do?
Finding out more about
just, getting involved, I guess. Should they reach out to?
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know how you guys do emails, but you guys know mine. If you want to pass it along, you can always reach out to me if you have questions or ideas. We have a course catalog if you're just interested in the kind of like what that looks like, what the thing we've been talking about this whole time looks like. It's Skills Hub, and I'll pass that along to you guys. But has, all of the different courses that we've worked with. We've worked inside of construction surveying with the survey manager local to Corpus. We've worked inside of hydrographic surveying. We've worked inside of boundary and land surveying. And so for us, it's also really bringing forward that surveying is not just land and boundary surveying, right? Which I think also goes into the awareness and the accessibility and really like creating that talent pipeline. So yeah, I mean, we've got, right now a growing and great course catalog that anybody who's interested in, whether it's an SME or just wants to know more about our SMEs that we've worked with so far, I'll definitely pass that along to you guys.
Awesome. That'd be fantastic.
Yeah, we definitely have we go to a lot of career fairs. We were just at one 2 weeks ago, ASU Polytechnic, and it's high school juniors that were
Mhm.
looking, right? And so I love going to these things because you plant this seed. But for us, it's kind of disheartening because we don't have a program here.
Yeah.
And so
Right.
we get the interest, but you talk to these kids for maybe 5 minutes, and they've got a scholarship, they've got great grades, so they want to go to college, they want to go a real a
Right.
university.
And they have
And
to leave the state to do it.
well, if but
In this
they don't
case,
have
they
that
wouldn't.
they
Well,
don't have
yeah.
that opportunity.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
from your perspective, I mean, if me and you were just having a meeting, I would ask you this. Well, I mean, it's hard to read a student from a 5-minute conversation, but
Mhm.
right now it seems like you've got construction management. This is where we might have the opportunity to teach the class. You've got GIS, you've got geography, geology. I find myself kind of lost because I don't have enough time to read the students and
Right.
tell them which direction to go. What would be your advice on that?
Um, I think kind of just one or two questions about what they're passionate about. And I think we all know what tends to be more geared towards a specific geospatial profession, right? So
Mm,
like if somebody's really interested in like being a little bit more hands-on, really interested in new technology, really likes being outside, yeah, I would probably
Yeah.
lean them more towards construction surveying, right? Um, if somebody's really interested in the water and the coast,
Sure.
hydrographic surveying. So if somebody really doesn't like being outside, I would probably tell them to go more towards GIS.
There you go.
right. I always get I don't like math. I don't like math. And I'm like, it's really not a deciding
No,
factor.
it's
Right.
how long can you sit in that chair without having to get up? If the answer is less than 30 seconds, you probably need to be outside.
Right. Exactly. How much
Yeah.
movement are you seeing in that student in your 5-minute
Exactly.
conversation?
It's hard to show them the end point, no matter which direction you go, is going to be based on your mentorship and how much information you get during this education. So, because again, there's not a surveying program, so
Yeah.
you're going to have to do something else.
Yep.
And just keep your mind on the prize at the end and use all this to hopefully get back to it.
Yeah.
I
Is what
mean,
we're dealing with.
right. And that we are not the only program that's doing this. So, not to make like a pitch, but Texas A&M University Corpus Christi is fully online now. And so you do have
Yeah.
4-year ABET accredited
Mhm.
programs in surveying and geomatics and GIS that have become accessible to
Mm.
anybody in the country.
Yeah.
And so if that is something that they want to do, I wouldn't do a workaround. I would go get the degree that I
Mhm.
wanted to get a degree in,
Yeah.
because you're going to have an easier time with licensing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's more options now than there probably ever has been, to be honest with you.
Right.
You
It
know, as
is.
far as online goes.
Right.
It is.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's a hard. My daughter is a sophomore at ASU, and so when she was a senior, that online, when you have tons of opportunity as far as scholarships
Yeah.
Right.
to attend the college, that's
Yeah.
a hard sell to say, well, just do online and you can get it. And we're
Yeah.
like, well, no, I want to live in the dorms. I want to do,
Yeah.
I worked this hard to be able to get this
Yeah.
scholarship. I want to live the life. And
Sure.
I just wish we had like some sort of an in-betweener to kind of
Right.
put them on the
Hmm.
axis of,
Yeah.
and then after that,
Yeah.
we can find it. But we're in those those learning years right now. And
Yeah.
I think
Well, yeah, and that's kind of where I was going with like the pendulum swinging, right? And so like everybody went online, but including TMUCC and most other programs is like you do have fully online, but like you also have your courses that you can take in person,
Mhm.
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
and that is where we need to be. We need to be offering them in both capacities, in my
Mhm.
opinion. Because yeah, I had the traditional college, like undergraduate experience, and I wouldn't trade it for the world. And if I were anybody going to TMUCC, I would absolutely be in person where my dorm room overlooked the ocean. Like, why would I do that online?
Right. A little different from alumni dorms in New Mexico State.
Yeah,
or as we called it,
exactly.
slumni.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Oh,
I mean,
wow.
I was during the Pinon phase, so
Oh, yeah.
it wasn't as bad.
That's funny. Maybe we need to start the Geoholics University.
Yeah.
Sounds
How about
good.
that? How about that? I think we have a superintendent right here.
Yeah, I think we do.
Yeah.
I'll be your guys' instructional designer. It'll be great.
Bam.
There we
See,
go.
the first step is getting a curriculum put together.
Got it.
See?
Done.
We're halfway there.
Yep, there we go. All right. Before we let you get out of here, I got one fun question, and then Sean's going to take us out. Only because you mentioned this in your bio that pelicans resonate.
Yeah, what's the deal with the pelicans?
They dive bomb into life, which I love. I love that. What's something in your career, Shelby, where you just took the leap without knowing how it would end out?
You know, after I sent that to you guys, I realized that I sent it to like a bunch of desert boys.
Yeah.
We've seen a pelican before. It's not that much.
Been to the zoo.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And we prefer desert rats.
Yes, we're
Right,
desert rats.
right. Yeah, so I think my latest dive bomb was definitely the Conrad Blucher Institute, where I, went from really thinking that I was going to stay in curriculum and instruction in the K through 12 space. And then I just met a bunch of other people who loved maps. And when I think it actually was Seneca Holland who looks at me and goes, well, I told Rick that I didn't know if he had his geographer card anymore because he was technically human geography. And I was like, oh my gosh, I haven't heard a joke like that in so long.
That's so funny.
I'm like, let me know. How can I work for you guys? Do you need me for free? Just let me know.
Yeah.
No offense to any human geographers. I actually really appreciate the field.
Well said.
Yeah, Shelby knows how to navigate this stuff around, doesn't she?
Yeah, politics in her future.
All right. I asked this question. I ask it to everybody at the end of the show, and you may have already given us a hint to it, but do you have a mantra that you live by?
Lately, it's just we're doing it live.
Live it live.
No, we're doing it live.
We're doing it live.
I love it.
Just waking up. We're doing it live.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah.
What else you guys got?
I think ours was we're fixing the train while it's still moving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
No,
So
I'm
funny.
good. No, I
You
love this
good?
conversation. It's
What else
good.
you got,
Yeah, we
Will?
talk about this all the time, and it's finally nice to talk to somebody that actually knows what they're doing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Really enjoyed it. What else you got, Will?
I would love to just send people your way. So if you can send us the pathways and we talk to a lot of students, a lot of teachers. And like I said, it's, we don't want to reinvent the wheel here.
Yeah, for sure.
A great opportunity here. So anything we can do to, help you out, it'll definitely help us out.
I think you need to drag Shelby to the counselors and teacher conference.
There you go.
Because then when they actually, how are you going to do this? You're like, right there.
Right there. Go for it.
Yeah, right.
Nice.
I'll see where I think we just missed it this year. I think it actually was in Houston this year. So,
oh my gosh.
Yeah.
You know what? I think, I feel like that was in the back of my brain somewhere. But this dissertations are kind of killer. I don't know if I want to do it again. I think I'm just going to stick at this last one and then no more school.
Be done.
Yes.
I don't know.
Yeah, I was looking
guys
at your
remind me of
resume.
that.
You've just since 10, you've just every few years you just get another.
Every few years, I'm like, you know what? Let's dive bomb back into this.
I got a feeling,
That's
given that
awesome.
mentality, you're going to end up with a lot more letters after your name. So
good job.
Well done. Well, Shelby, thank you so much for your time. This has been a great conversation and super enlightening. This has been awesome.
I know. I love it.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
Thanks for having me on, guys.
You betcha.
How about those Aggies?
Let's go Aggies.
Beat UTEP last night. Almost started a brawl.
Oh, look
Ooh.
at this. Look at this.
Right. You know, the one thing we're not too terrible in is basketball.
Basketball, is it?
There we go.
Hey, you got your Seahawks.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm not going to complain about sports this year.
You had a good run. All right. Adding value, making friends. If anyone would like to be a guest on a future show, shoot us an email at info@thegeoholics.com. My voice is just about shot. Huge thanks to our future featured friends of the program. Be a bit of a list here, but Altair Central, David Evans and Associates, Emlid, Downback Land Surveying, Esri, caught up with a bunch of those guys at Geo Week, 12D Synergy as well, Trimble, Leica Hexagon, Pointera, Topodot, Mach 9, Infold ROI, 4M Analytics, and our good friends at Navis.
That's right.
Who, as usual, had the swag giveaway of the event, the Geo Week Stein.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. We're starting to continue our collection.
Exactly. All right. Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, Running Down a Dream. Available everywhere. Until next time, everyone. Every school has a love language. For some reason, that resonated with me. Take a chance. Dive bomb into life. And we're doing it live.
We're doing it live.
Good stuff. And as always, most importantly, be safe and healthy, everyone.
Man, guys, I should have watched the video version of this. Would have just